Well, everybody, the first official AP poll has officially dropped, and it's an absolute banger. Yes, you heard that correctly. The AP poll has officially dropped for the preseason. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to break it down here before we hop into this week's video. So we'll do it in a little bit of an intro section video. Also, welcome to Interview Week here on the channel where we are talking to players and commits around the country, or around the state of Alabama, rather, maybe not in the country yet, but around the state of Alabama, that's for sure. Yesterday, we talked to South Alabama commit Noah Moss out of St. Michael's. Next, we talked to, later today, you guys are going to be getting our interview with Tucker Tomlinson out of St. Michael High School as well. And then, of course, Wednesday, we are going to have our interview with Alabama A&M running back E.J. King. So, hit that sub button if you're into pretty much all of the, I guess you would say, interview stuff that we are doing here throughout the channel and throughout the week. Football season's almost here. Let's go ahead and break down this AP poll at first, though. Texas is your #1 team in the country heading into week 0. Penn State is #2. I have a feeling those two will change, or will stay the same, heading into week #1. Ohio State is #3. Clemson at 4. Georgia at 5. Notre Dame at 6. Oregon at 7. They got 1 vote for the top 25, or to be #1 in the country, might I add as well. Then you have Alabama at #8, LSU at #9, Miami at #10, Arizona State at 11, Illinois at 12, South Carolina at 13, Michigan at 14, Florida at 15, SMU at 16, Kansas State 17, Oklahoma 18, 19 is A&M, 20 is Indiana, Ole Miss is 21, Iowa State at 22, Texas Tech at 23, of course, Tennessee at 24, and Boise State at 25. Now, the bottom half of the AP poll is a little bit of questioning in my part of it. I thought that top 10 was okay. I thought Clemson shouldn't be ranked as high. We'll get to that one in a second here, as this intro is going to be a little bit longer than the normal intros. But I did think that Tennessee should not have been ranked to start the season. They don't know who their quarterback is going to be. We know it's probably going to be Drew Allard, but they have not come out and said that yet. I think that Boise State, with the loss of Achidenchi, should not have been ranked either. I thought Baylor should have been ranked in there in the top 25. I thought a couple other teams like Colorado State maybe should have even been ranked number 25 in the country as well. But overall, it's really not that bad of an AP poll to start the year. This AP poll is just for us to get to talking about football season. LSU at #9 did shock me a little bit, though, as I think that Alabama's better than them, but I don't think anybody else really ranked above them is better than them, other than Alabama. The usual is the top 4 or so, other than Clemson. I think LSU actually beats Clemson, which we will get into in our predictions here in the next couple of weeks. But Texas and Ohio State to open the season is going to be an absolute banger of a game. You got, obviously, LSU at Clemson, another top 10 matchup. Then you have Bama, Florida State as well on that Saturday, August 30th. And then on Sunday, Miami, Notre Dame. That is going to be another top 10 matchups. 3 top 10 matchups in the first week of the season. Absolutely insane. Top 25 matchup in Dublin, Ireland to start the year in week 0 between Kansas State and Iowa State in a Big 12 matchup. That's going to be really, really good as well, which we'll talk about here next week, so stay tuned for that. Lots of good stuff, lots of really good games here all across the board in college football. I cannot wait to get this season started. It's going to be an absolutely fun one, but this AP poll is just to get people talking about college football, and we will see what happens come down the season as well. One of my friends pointed this out as well. Very interested to see how this differs from the end of the year AP poll as well. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on throughout the week. But regardless, pretty decent top 25 if you're asking me to start the year, and football season's just around the corner. But before we get into today's video, obviously hit that like button, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. 2-a-days this week between interviews and, of course, regular videos. Today we're going to talk about my fantasy football team, but I wanted to get this AP poll reaction out for you guys first as well. So let's go ahead, hop in to, of course, our fantasy football recap, my draft recap, and let's go ahead and hop right into that video as well. All right, so we're going to start off with the bench here, actually, and then work our way into the starting lineup. For those curious, I had pick number 4 in my fantasy football draft. 4 out of 8 teams, PPR, all of that stuff as well. So that's out there right there too. So with us starting off, we're going to start off with Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed is, of course, out, but I wanted to pick him up because I knew somebody in my league would pick him up. I think he's great value. He's going to be a really talented second option for you, especially if a couple of your receivers are on a bye week and you don't have Matthew Golden, which I do have, who we'll talk about in a second as well. But he's going to be a really good value once he does come back from his injury. And I cannot be more excited to have Jayden Reed here on this team. My running back, my backup running back, Travis Etienne Jr., the running back out of Jacksonville. I actually think that Tank Bigsby is going to take over the starting job throughout the year. I've seen a lot of people talk about that as well. However, I think to start week 1, he's not a bad option to have on your roster for a backup spot. He's going to be a really serviceable running back, especially if you have a running back who's going to be on a bye, or starting running back or something like that, who's going to be on a bye. I think that that's the right call. I think you could go either way with Etienne and Tank. I think they'll both be utilized in a 1-2 punch for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That offense is building around Trevor Lawrence. They are getting him weapons, and the running backs are a huge part of that offense for them as well. So that is why I decided to go with Travis Etienne. Now, I also chose Jerry Jeudy as another wide receiver. I think he is going to be an absolute beast for Joe Flacco or Shedeur Sanders or whoever the Cleveland Browns start at quarterback. I think he's going to be the main target on that roster, and that is why I drafted him. He had a really good production last year in fantasy. I expect that to continue this year in fantasy football. Not going to start him by any means unless I do have a couple of receivers that are on bye in the same week or something like that. But as a bench player, he does have really good value. So I took Jerry Jeudy there. I also took Calvin Ridley, man. If you watched that preseason game with Tennessee this past weekend, you saw the connection that Cam Ward had with Calvin Ridley. I think that is going to revive Calvin Ridley's career. I think people are going to start to look at this Tennessee Titans team a little bit different. And I think that Cam Ward to Calvin Ridley connection is going to be absolutely amazing this year in Tennessee. And I think that is going to be just the start of Cam Ward's career. Really good option to have for you, especially in PPR leagues. Then I got Matthew Golden. I loved Matthew Golden coming out of Texas. The dude can absolutely ball. Green Bay, I'm really glad that they used their first round pick on him because he is a very underrated player, if you are asking me. And again, he's going to be the starter on that team. With Jayden Reed being out, he is the clear-cut number 1 wide receiver right now, no questions asked. And he is on my bench. So again, I think that he had excellent value from where I picked him. I believe I picked him in like the 6th or 7th round, one of the latter half rounds. And he's just going to ball out for this Green Bay team. So Matthew Golden's on my squad. Then I got Tony Pollard out of Tennessee. I should have gotten Tajay Spears, but I think Tony Pollard's just going to serve as a, hey, if I need you, you're going to play type of guy as well. And then my bench quarterback, Justin Herbert. How I was lucky to get Justin Herbert, I have absolutely no idea. I didn't take a backup quarterback until like the 14th or 15th round. So, again, Justin Herbert was very good and very ecstatic to have him on my team as a backup quarterback for my starters, who we will now talk about. All right, now let us go ahead and talk about the starters for my fantasy football team in 2025 here. Starting off with our kicker, Chase McGlone. I just randomly took a kicker towards the latter half of the rounds. I didn't really care. Obviously, kicker, not that big a deal in fantasy football. Then you have the Bills defense. I did take the Bills defense. I wanted to get them because they are going to be a really underrated defense, if you are asking me, in my opinion there. Then I took Ladd McConkey. I have Ladd McConkey right now at my flex position, but I did take Ladd McConkey here. Not with my first pick. My first pick, I took CeeDee Lamb out of Dallas. Obviously, I'm a Cowboys fan. CeeDee Lamb, one of the best when it comes to production numbers and all of that stuff in fantasy football. So that is why I took a wide receiver, especially in PPR. You need a wide receiver as well. So I took CeeDee Lamb. I took Ladd McConkey. My tight end, my starting tight end is Mark Andrews. I only took one tight end, and that was towards the latter half of my draft. So Mark Andrews, great value for where I drafted him. He's going to be a stud this year, and I think he will definitely have a bounce back year as well. Then you got Brian Thomas Jr., an excellent pick by me. I love Brian Thomas Jr. out of Jacksonville. I think with the addition of Travis Hunter, they're going to kind of split between the two. But I think Travis Hunter is going to get a lot of attention, which will open up a lot for Brian Thomas Jr. and open up a lot for Travis Etienne as well. So I kind of got both of them there in the same draft. But I'm really happy that I selected Brian Thomas as another wide receiver. Now, my two running backs, Ashton Jeanty and Breece Hall. Ashton Jeanty had a terrible game in the first preseason, but it's preseason. How much can you really base off of that? If that's my opinion on that there. Same thing with Shedeur Sanders lighting up the Carolina Panthers defense, which we won't talk about as well. However, my second running back, Breece Hall. Really good pick right there. Loved Breece Hall. I think that with Justin Fields in the system and with Aaron Glenn as the head coach, he's going to utilize Breece Hall a lot more than Aaron Rodgers would utilize Breece Hall as well. So I'm very glad that I drafted him. And then my starting quarterback for the year, you already know, I'm wearing the jersey, Jayden Daniels. Had to get my boy out of LSU. One of the best when it comes to PPR, especially in the latter half of the season last year. I'm expecting that to carry over to the start of the season this year. Same thing with Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is going to be an excellent pickup for anybody who is in PPR. I think if you looked at that first preseason drive, you thought this is the Bryce Young where we picked up off. So I think similar situations right there with Jayden Daniels and Bryce Young, who picked up in the second half of their seasons. Jayden Daniels obviously making it to the NFC Championship game, a little different than Bryce Young, but Bryce Young picked it up, was one of the best when it came to touchdown scorings in the latter half of the season. I expect both of those guys to keep it going, and I'm really glad that I got Jayden Daniels. So, to recap my starting lineup, Chase McLaurin at kicker, Bills defense, Mark Andrews at tight end, Ladd McConkey at the flex, Brian Thomas at the wide receiver 2 position, CeeDee Lamb, at the wide receiver 1 position, Breece Hall, RB number 2, Ashton Jeanty, RB number 2, and Jayden Daniels at the quarterback position. That's my lineup heading into week 1. Hopefully none of these guys get hurt in the preseason. However, you guys let me know what you thought of the video in the comments down below. Do not forget to like, subscribe, turn that bell on as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. Tomorrow, we're going to play our Road to Glory with Texas Tech. Then of course, Thursday, we'll have our Dynasty with Vanderbilt. And Friday, we're actually going to start a Madden franchise with the Carolina Panthers. So hit that sub button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically get you subscribed to all of our latest videos. Interview week throughout the channel as well, with interviews with EJ King and Bishop Burkhalter. And then Saturday, we are going to talk to Aiden Schamberger out of South Alabama as well. So lots of stuff coming this week. Cannot be more excited. Next week, we will have previews for each region in high school football in the state of Alabama, along with predictions and such for college football and, of course, high school football. We'll do our No More Road to Glories and Dynasty as well. Cannot wait for what's to come with content. Hit that sub button. Leave a comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.